Yes, people, what is going on? Apologies about that. I didn't realise the live had started, and then I felt something. I don't know what it was near my ear. So yeah, apologies about that. Welcome back to another stream. It's been a couple of days again since I've done a stream on here, since I've done like some updates and things. So I just thought I would just like pop in and be like, hey, things are good. For people who maybe only follow me on here and they haven't followed me on like other social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and things like that. And I just thought I'd pop in to really say hello and just give a few little updates and things like that, and just touch basis upon what's been going on really, and why I've been a little bit quiet and stuff like that. But in all sense, I've got some really cool things coming up, and I've got some really exciting things. It's going to be a really, really exciting year. It's going to be absolutely fantastic this year, and it's shaping up very nicely. And I don't just mean in the way of gigs. Don't get me wrong, we've got some really good gigs coming, and there's some really exciting ones this year that I'm really, really buzzed and stoked to be playing. However, there is some other things like, to do with production and to do with work and loads of cool things that are happening. However, we have not had the best start to the year. In all honesty, we've had a few things that have unfortunately gone wrong for us with the start of this year. We had a bit of a quiet year, which, quiet start to the year, which was a little bit like, I didn't really want that, in all honesty. Sometimes it's good to have a break, but sometimes I feel like if you do get into that little zone where you have a break, it can sometimes be quite hard to come back from the break. But yeah, we had a little bit of a break, and I didn't, I kind of appreciated it, but I didn't at the same time, because I genuinely like having things happening and gigs and things to look forward to. And I've had quite a lot of weekends apart from last weekend where I've not really had anything planned. So there's been no gigs, there's been nothing really that has been kind of, like, oh, by the way, we're gonna, we're gonna go here this weekend, or you're doing this weekend. Last weekend we played at Fusion Nightclub. I think I did announce the gig. I didn't do an aftermath for it. It was just kind of like a birthday party. It was still really enjoyable. We had a really, really good set. I was really buzzed with how well the set went. And there's something I've got to show you actually as well. So let me just bear with me a moment. Okay, big ups, people. I apologise about that. I couldn't find it at first. So, I played a birthday party last weekend in the Fusion nightclub, and I arrived at the venue, and they gave us this T-shirt which says "Life is better with Josh" around. Really good T-shirt. It was Josh's birthday. That was what the whole vibe and the event was for. However, what was absolutely wicked is they actually put my DJ logo on the back, and it looks really, really sick. I absolutely love it. Now, these are the type of memories that you cherish from doing a DJ gig, that they give you a T-shirt and you get your name on the back of it. So I'm a little bit gutted because, and this is no disrespect to Josh, but it says like "Life is better with Josh" at the front. Now, personally, I'd love to wear this more often because I think it's sick. However, if I go to, say, play a gig down south and it says "Life is better with Josh," like, they're gonna think like, "Who's Josh?" You know, like, they might think, I don't know, they might think I've got a boyfriend and he's called Josh, and I'm wearing like "Life is better with Josh" around, because they aren't gonna know, obviously, that it was somebody's birthday. So if it didn't have the thing on the front, like it had, like, I don't know, like a headphone design or something, really cool. But what it has done, it has given me a really nice memory of something that I can like just hang up, or something, that I can do, or I don't know, maybe might just put the T-shirt in a photo frame or something, or do something to it. But it's also given me that motivation to actually want to get some artwork done myself, to put on some T-shirts and maybe have a little bit of merchandise that some people could do, people could wear. And I've got a few ideas of some things that I do, and some things that I would try and maybe sell to people. So I think that might be something that I might do, in all sort of forget the word now, in all fairness. So going forward, later in the year, I might think about designing some things with my logo on. Now, I liked this logo when it first got made for me. I thought, yeah, it's a pretty cool logo, but I always kind of had the idea that I would probably change it. But in all honesty, the logo has kind of grown on me, and now it has kind of become like the thing where it kind of is my logo. So this was one good thing from the gig that was just really nice, that just gave me a memory, and then I can go, oh, remember when I did that gig for Josh's birthday, and they gave me a T-shirt with my name on it. That's like a really, really cool thing for me. So I'm proper buzzed about that. So big ups to everybody involved in making this T-shirt, and everybody that sort of put the T-shirts together. It was absolutely fantastic, and it was really good. And we wore it on the night of the event as well. I wore it for the set. They wanted everybody to wear these T-shirts with "Life is better with Josh" around, for this, for the event. And I'm not gonna lie, it did look a little bit weird. It looked like there was a load of people just in the same T-shirt, especially people when you didn't see the back and it had their logo on it. But it was still a really cool thing, and I'm really, really buzzed that I got the opportunity to have this T-shirt. And like I say, it's something that I will keep forever. I never thought years ago that I would go somewhere and I'd end up having a T-shirt with my name on it. So it kind of has blown me away in that sense. However, let's move on to the not so good thing. So for those of you who may or may not know, nearly 3 weeks ago, my computer decided that it would give up the go. So about 3 weeks ago, one Monday night, I came on to the computer to do some things on FL Studio. The computer booted up absolutely fine. I got onto FL Studio. I began writing a tune. I was working on a melody, and all of a sudden the computer just powered down. It just turned itself off. It was just all of a sudden there was just nothing. There was no bang. There was no crash. There was no something not responding. Everything was just working absolutely fine. And then all of a sudden the computer just turned itself off, and it's not turned itself back on since. So I quickly spoke to a friend of mine, the layman, and it just so happens that he's built a computer, and he built one a couple of years ago, and then he bought a different computer that was a little bit faster, but he said, this computer would be really good for what you need. So we diagnosed the issue with mine, and this is what the issue was. Or so we think we're like 90. I think the layman's about 100% certain. I'm probably about 95% certain. I mean, I do pretty much trust the layman, but I think part of me just wishes I could just connect this back up and it'd work. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But this has gone. This is what you plug the lead into, that then gives power to the computer from obviously a plug socket. So it's a 3-pin kettle lead. This is a big power adapter, and it looks like this has somehow blown. It's gone down. It's stopped working. I don't know the ins and outs of how it stopped working or what caused it to stop working. I just know that it stopped working, unfortunately, and I don't really know what else to really say or do. So we had a look at these anyway to see if we could find these power adapters online. And they were quite hard to find because you've got to get the exact model and the exact make, so it'd obviously fit into that computer. And when we looked at what one of these was going to cost, it turns out that it ends up costing a fair amount of money. And the computer is about 5 years old, so 5 years is really good. And when I bought the computer, it was a second-hand refurbished computer. So the computer had already been used for a lot of years before I bought it. It's an old computer. And when I bought it, somebody had just upgraded a few bits on it, just basically gave it a little bit of TLC, probably updated all the windows and everything, and basically sold it to me. As you do. And literally, to cut the story short, I've had it for about 5 years. So 5 years on top of however many years it's been sort of on the go before that. I fair to say the computer's done quite well. Obviously, something must have happened to it to need that TLC, and the TLC gave it another 5 years worth of life. So I just kind of thought, is there really a point in just upgrading this to a computer that's already quite old, and that has already sort of probably had its day? So I decided that I would buy the one off the layman that the layman was offering, because I thought, you know what, it's a bit newer than mine. It's custom built. It's got LED. It lights up blue. It looks really cool. It looks absolutely wicked. So we decided that was going to be that was going to be the plan. And then on this Tuesday just gone, we brought the computer here, and we went to hook it up to my monitor screen, and we got no picture. So essentially, we got no picture, and we just basically could not get a picture at all. We tried multiple different things. We tried Googling things. We tried loads of things. For whatever reason, the tower was just not wanting to give a picture to the screen, even though there was a lead in. The monitor was showing that there was a lead in, but we were just getting no picture. So the layman was pretty certain that he could get a picture at home. on his TV that he had it connected to. So we tried that yesterday, and there's some things up with the computer, unfortunately, and some things that it's going to have to go to a computer shop. It's just not in the best situation. We're not fully sure what the issues are, so we don't know what the score is going to be, and I can't really afford to wait much longer while it goes into a computer shop and stuff like that. So it's kind of looking like now I'm gonna just end up buying a new one online. Well, when I say a new one, I mean like buying a second-hand one, or like a refurbished one again. Because in all fairness, the one I just had that has just broke actually lasted me really well. You know, it's been really, really good. It's been absolutely solid, like to the point of like, do you know what? Like, this is absolutely fantastic. So, in all fairness, we're going to buy another one. And then we're going to swap the hard drive over, depending that the hard drive can fit, essentially. If the hard drives can fit, then that is essentially what the score is going to be. If I could find a computer similar to the one I've just had, I would be very happy, as I would know that the hard drive would fit definitely. Although you can probably like look up the computer and see what hard drive is already in it. If it's got the same connectors, then it will fit. I've been looking at some videos for it. So at the moment, we are computerless. We've got no computer. I've not had a computer for about 3 weeks, and I'm not gonna lie, it has actually drove me mad. Because like normally right now I'd be sat on FL, I'd be working on a tune, I'd be keeping myself busy. Whereas at the moment I've not been able to do that because I've just been kind of like, you can have a mix, but you can only have a mix for so long. I can't, buy any new tracks and put them onto my USB sticks. I've kind of, you think, like when it first broke, I thought, just a couple of days without FL, and then you actually realise like how much more you actually use the computer and how many different things you use the computer for, which is absolutely just crazy. Now, when I've been going to the Youth Music Studio, I've been using FL Studio for like a little bit, but it's not the same because the studio. The FL Studio is behind. So the FL Studio is a couple of updates behind for starters. And then the next thing is I don't have plugins there like I have at home. So like at home, I've got things like Vital, I've got Serum, I've got things like the Korg M1. I've got really good plugins. And when I'm at the studio, I've got like the only plugin I've got there that isn't an FL Studio stock plugin is a plugin called the Surge XT. And in all fairness, like I am really struggling when it comes to finding some good sounds for melodies. Like I'm trying to make some really good leads for like some bounce tracks and some other style tracks that I've been working on at the studio, and I've just not been finding too much in the way of getting a good sound. I've got some all right ones, but it's been a struggle to the point where I'm thinking, yeah, I need them better plugins back. The thing about it is a lot of people, like, you can watch videos and they can say like you can make some good sounds with the stock plugins, and you can. But then when you actually make sounds like on a plugin that isn't stock, you actually do realize how much better the sounds are. Like you can use stock plugins, like there's one called Flex. It's got some good sounds on it. Don't get me wrong, but then you use something like Serum and the sounds that you can get out of Serum and presets you can buy, just absolutely game changers. Like I make some really, really good leads on Serum that I use at home in like some of my bounce tracks, and really good. But however, I have still been sort of being able to use FL Studio, but it's only been like once a week, and then people have been booked in, and it's been a little bit annoying. So obviously, normally, I think I've said this before in previous streams, on a Thursday, I go to the studio about 4, even though my session starts at 6. And the reason why I do that is simply just because when I come out of the office at work, which is about 4 o'clock, there's not really a point in me going back home to have to come back out, because I'd walk all the way home, and then I would get home probably about 20 past, 4:30, and then like within the next hour I'd have to come back out again, because obviously I'd have to, get there early to get everything turned on and set up for the session. So I normally go just straight after work. I just go straight to the studio. It's kind of like the next part of work, and then what I'll normally do is just work on some things myself, work on some projects. However, more recently, there's been some like young people that have been wanting to use the room, which is a really, really good thing. Don't get me wrong. It's really, really good that people want to use the room, and it's kind of what the room is there for. However, they don't always know how to respect the room. They don't always know how to respect the equipment that they're using. So, for example, about a month ago, there was a kid who wanted to have a go on the drums, and he was drumming away, but he was drumming that hard that he actually snapped the drumstick, and he was just, it wasn't drumming, he was bashing the drum, and he was just hitting the stick to the drum so hard that he could have put a hole in the drum kit, or what happened is what he did was he actually snapped the drumstick. And then what had happened is he tried to hide the drumstick, and like I hadn't seen what he'd done, and then they get bits of equipment out and guitars, and then they don't put them back, and they leave the studio in a mess. And they're really, really loud, really loud. So like I sort of wanted to use that time originally to work on my own stuff, to work on some of my own stuff before whoever's booked in comes into the session. However, like I say, I'm glad that people want to use the room. It's it's what the room is there for. It's all part of why we've got that studio room, because obviously people so young people can use it. It's just like I just wish they would respect the room. So there's been a few like I had to write a complaint in an email just to say that I wasn't really too happy that they're leaving equipment to get broken, microphones have been dropped and got dinted, drumsticks have been snapped, and amps are getting turned up to the point where they're redlining. It's just not a good thing. So I had to complain. But lately they've been really loud. Like they're in there, they're just absolutely bashing the hell out of the instruments to the point where, and don't get me wrong, they like some of them are really good. Like there's people there that can drum, and there's people there that can really play like good on the guitars and things, but they just seem to think that they can have the amp on maximum volume and that they need to hit the drum as hard as they can. Like, they don't just play it nicely. They play a good rhythm. They play melodies. They make good songs, but they just play them too loud. To the point where they're gonna blow an amp, or they're gonna break the drums. And when I'm trying to work in the other little bit, it does get a little bit like, can you just respect the equipment? Can you just not be as loud? Actually respect that I actually run a session in this room. I actually kind of take over this room, and have some respect that I've then got to run a session in this room. After they've gone, they go about 5:30. Then I run a session from 6 o'clock till 8. I need things to be ready. If someone's recording vocals, I need to just be able to plug the mic in and not think, where's that mic gone? And then find it dropped in the corner of a room, dinted, and sometimes they just don't respect. And also a big thing is they're in and out of the room. And then they're leaving the door open. So people that are in the other sessions, or people that are doing other things who maybe don't want to hear the music, they keep hearing it because the door's opening and closing, opening and closing. And I tell them, like, if you're going out of the room, shut the door. If you're coming back in, shut the door, you know, but they leave it open, honestly. So anyway, so I've been trying to use a bit of FL in there. It's been a little bit hard, I'm not gonna lie. However, we're getting there. You know, at least I can do something, which is, you know, better than nothing, I suppose. But anyway, the point being, sort of within the next week, I think I'll have a new computer, because we'll get one. It might take a couple of days to come, but at least I know I'm going to get one. I'm going to get back up and running, and hopefully we can just swap the hard drives, and then I can get back on with FL Studio, and hopefully things will be all gravy, and things should be all fine and dandy, essentially, and things will be absolutely wicked. But yeah, this broke, and it was a real shame because it came just sort of unexpectedly. You know, it wasn't like I was really getting any warnings of, look, this computer's on its way out. There was times where it had run a bit slow, some programs had crashed, but that was just natural. It's done that for a few years. There was nothing that really was like, you know, I'm going to break now. So it was a bit unexpected. I was a bit like, why is it turned off? And then like, why won't it turn back on? And then I was like, I think the computer's broken. Sadly, it had. So that's the unfortunate thing. So on to the good news. Outside of FL Studio being playing up, and you know, the computer being broken, rather, what I have managed to do music wise has been absolutely amazing, and there's some really, really good music that's going to come out this year. There's going to be some stuff that is going to shock a lot of people, because it's completely different to what I've normally been doing. So like, I've not just been making some bounce tracks. So the bounce tracks I'm still working on, I'm still making, and I've kind of been like keeping hush on like the other things I've been doing. So like, if I've been doing a bounce remix, like I've been quite open about it, and I've gone on like TikTok lives and things, and I've kind of just like, you know, oh, I'm working on this at the moment, because I'm not really asked. Like when it's a remix, like it does, like especially a bounce remix, it doesn't really bother me, because a bounce remix is a bounce remix. A lot of people have probably already remixed the song, and it's just a remix of an already existing song. So for me personally, like, you know, somebody's either already done a remix or somebody will do one in the future. So it doesn't matter to me as such when it's a bounce track that's just a bootleg of something. It doesn't really matter to me about keeping it, like some people say, like, don't show your work because people will steal ideas and copy it. But in all fairness, there isn't really anything to steal, because I'm already kind of, you know, stealing a song that's already released and then kind of doing a remix of it, or an illegal bootleg, if you like, you know. So for me, it doesn't, you know, I'll openly come on a live and say I'm working on a nice little remix of this for my sets, what do you think? And, you know, if somebody else goes and donks that same tune up, like, I'm not really asked, you know. I've got my version, I like my version. However, when it comes to the things like the originals, and you know, I've been working on some originals and some really good stuff, some stuff with the layman as well. I keep that hush, and I don't tell people. You know, I tease like, yeah, there's new music coming. We've got some really good stuff coming. Some stuff that is really, really commercial as well. Some stuff that's going to absolutely blow people away, because they won't expect it. And it's absolutely crazy. So all I can really say is keep an eye out for them, because you're going to absolutely love them, and they're going to give off an absolutely wicked vibe that I don't think you will be expected from me. So keep an eye out for them. We've got music videos to film. We've got loads of things happening. These tracks are going to get full releases as well. They'll go on to all streaming platforms. Like some of these are going to get official releases, and who knows where they're going to go on from there. They might get approached by some labels, I'm not sure, but they're very different to just doing a bounce remix. Now, This is not me saying like I'm not doing the bounce remixes anymore, because I enjoy them. They're a bit of fun. I do a lot of Clubland and bounce sets, and it's good to be able to make them tracks that you can play in your sets and things like that. Like they're really fun to do. You can put your own twist on an already amazing song, and they're a really, really cool thing to do, and they're really good for sets. So by all means, I'm going to keep doing the remixes still. If anything, they will be like to play in my sets. And then if there's some that I think, you know what, I want to send that one to Excite, then, I'll still do that, because Excite is a good label. It's not really a label. It's more like just it's more like just a store that'll basically sell the track. It's kind of like a label, but it's not, if that makes sense. It's just an illegal website really that sells bootlegs. But the thing about it is like this genre of music, like the bounce scene, is not big enough. So like the tracks don't blow up big enough that it's worth the original artists suing the people that have done this track. It's somebody who just puts a little spin on their on a tune they like. Few DJs buy it, play it in live streams, and the track gets played at a few sets, like at gigs and things, events, and then like within a couple of weeks the track's sort of forgotten about and it's on to the next one. So it's just something fun, and it's more just like for the bounce community, if you like. So that's kind of in sense like why like I still kind of enjoy doing it, just because it's just a bit of fun, and again it makes me a couple of quid as well. So like I send them to Excite. And in all honesty, they don't do massively well. You don't earn thousands off them. It's not that sort of thing where you earn thousands off them. However, you do earn a few quid off them. So I think last time I took the royalties from Excite, which was a couple of weeks ago now. Basically I took like just over a tenner from them, which wasn't that bad. It was royalties that I didn't know I had. So I thought I'd claimed all the royalties that I had. And then it turns out that some tracks that had been out for a little while had actually received some more purchases, and then I was owed just over a tenner in royalties. So I think, in all fairness, like on the website itself, I think I've earned near around 35 quid. Which, in the grand scheme of things, 35 quid's nothing compared to like people that have had like, songs that have gone platinum and they've made thousands off them, but for somebody who is just like an up and coming producer, and for somebody who is just experimenting with music and learning all the time, just to say that that you've made over 30 quid on your own piece of work, like for somebody, I suppose, at the level that I'm at, it's still an achievement in the grand scheme of things. And bigger artists will think like, what you've only made that, like, all right, yeah, maybe, but for somebody like me, it's a little bit of an achievement. So last time, like I say, I claimed royalties. It was something like £10.40p, or something like that, £10.48 or something. And then a track released last week on Friday, which was my remix of the Key to Secret, and that has earned just over a fiver up to now. I'm presuming it might get a few more sales. But it's had four people have bought it essentially. So again, in the grand scheme of things, 4 people have only bought the track. It's not but what you've got to understand is that website is on the go constantly. So every week there is like 4, 5, 6 new tracks, 7, 8 maybe, that go onto that website. So like my track came out last Friday. Since then, there's been about another 8 tracks, and you can quickly get lost, you can quickly get to a point where, you've just got a version of that track, and it's just on the site, and some people will like buy tracks when they come out. Some people like there's that many tracks that people just can't keep up, and it's constantly going all the time. So like sometimes like you're battling against a lot of other tracks, and if you just don't do something that the other track does, people are probably going to go and buy the other track. But and the good thing is like the label accepts it. When the label accepts it, or or the digital store accepts it, whatever you want to call it, you're kind of onto a good thing, in that sense. And then when you put a sample clip up, or when you announce it's coming out, and then people hear a little sample of it, and if people are saying they like it, then they know you're onto a good thing there. But you have to remind people have short attention span. People will forget. If you put a sample clip up like 3 weeks, and then the tune comes out like 3 weeks later, it's not guaranteed that everybody will remember that track's come out, and you've kind of got to remind them like this is out today. Some people might not even remember that they've even listened to it, so they'll listen to the sample again, and then it's like they're hearing it all over again, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's come out, and then some people will, people will go and buy it, and that's kind of the thing, that's kind of what happens, in that sense. So it's not an amazing thing, but like it's still a good little thing for people like myself at the level I'm at to and it just it gives you a little bit of it, like sometimes like you want to go onto that site and you want to buy something yourself, and then you've made a couple of quid in tune royalties, that you could just put back into buying a track, and it's not really cost you, and I enjoy making the music anyway. Sometimes you do get a track and it does well, loads of people will buy it, it's had absolutely loads of sales, you earn a fair chunk of money off of it, you can earn like maybe 40-50 quid off one track. But it just varies, it just varies. Like I said, there's a lot of things that are going out on that site, like the other sites, and it's all about kind of what what's doing, what's going to do well, and what's currently doing well, and it depends who it is as well, who's really, if people are known for already putting a good tune up on that site, then automatically people are going to want to kind of curiously know what's next. So yeah, so there's lots of new stuff coming, lots of original, and some really good cover tracks coming as well, music videos. There's loads of exciting things. I can't say too much more about them, because I don't want to like really give anything away. However, all I'm saying is it's exciting. I'm excited. The layman's excited. We've got some really cool things on the horizon, along with the really good gigs. So the Doncaster Warehouse, I'm really excited to debut at the Doncaster Warehouse on the main stage. I mean, I've kind of got no choice because there isn't like any other rooms available, but it's kind of like, do you know what? Like I'm playing on the main stage, which is, the Warehouse is like a legendary rave venue, and for people to play on the main stage who haven't played on the main stage before, it is quite an achievement. And a lot of people that are like up and coming from around that area, they kind of aspire to do that, and it is like a really good rave venue. It's kind of like like the Wigan end, they've got the Pure, we've got the Warehouse, and the Warehouse is like that legendary venue that everybody's just kind of like, do you know what, like this is what we need. There's always like towns that have like that really good club that's like been there for years, but it's never shut down. It still keeps going. The Warehouse just does absolutely amazing. There isn't many events that get put on at that venue where it's a quiet night. And in all fairness, like, there's a lot of events that put like pay, for venue hire, and put an event on in that venue, and then, booking kind of like top class artists, and, packing out lineups. So, and packing out the events itself. So it's really good. So I'm really looking forward to playing that one. It's one of my most like it's the gig I'm looking forward to the most so far this year, because it's like it's a really big and cool thing. But we've still got loads of other good gigs. I'm back in Fusion next weekend for a trance night. Which I haven't got a computer, so I haven't been able to really go through a lot of trance music. I've got one folder on my USB stick, and it's got some trance tunes on it, but it's got some classics, so some like classic kind of like Kevin and Perry sort of style trance. So there's things like Paul Van Dyk for an Angel, the Lost Boys, the Lost Brothers, Cry Little Sister, things like Grease 2002, things like Rough Divers, with Dreaming. We got stuff like Matt Darey, York on the Beach. There's things like the Space Brothers. We've got things like Heart of Asia. So we've got some good classics on there. However, I just was hoping to go with a little bit of a different twist. But if I don't get on a computer beforehand, unfortunately, that is going to be a little bit of a shame. But I've got some ideas of some things that I may do, and I might be able to sort some stuff out beforehand at the studio, possibly. But hopefully, if I do get a computer, it comes next week. It comes within good time, and I can hopefully get it set up, and we can get kind of like rocking and rolling. And hopefully, swapping the hard drive over just means that everything is just how it was, and it's just like kind of like loading up the same computer, and just kind of like having everything there. All the project files, so the record box with all the tracks, like if I lost all them tracks, like I would be absolutely mortified. I'd be gutted. They're all on that hard drive, but there's, if I could just get all them tracks back, like that'd be absolutely wicked, because at the moment I've kind of lost all the music apart from what's on my stick. So there's like loads of tracks that are dating back that I've been collecting for a couple of years, and if I couldn't swap the hard drive over for whatever reason, it would be a real shame. Like, it honestly would. It would be such a shame in that sense. So hopefully we can just swap the hard drive. All the music files will be there. All the program files will be there. All the plugins will be there with the right locations, because that is going to be a pain if they're not. There's a good chance that a few things won't have the original file location. I just hope I don't load my project files for like FL and then half of the sounds are missing and I can't locate them because I don't know where they've gone. That is going to be a pain. But that is something I have kind of got to be prepared for, unfortunately. That it might put something into a D drive instead of a C drive, depending on the computer I get. Just as long as I can put the hard drive in and we can find something, we'll be on to a winner. But I'll keep you posted on that. But yeah, we've got Chain Reaction as well. So some good things with Chain Reaction. They've just put their next event out, which is for the 14th of March. And then there is myself, B2B with Kleiny, and we're on the opening set. I've not played an opening set for a while, and I like doing them to an extent. But I do prefer to play later in the night usually. But we'll see how it goes. Like, I'm quite looking forward to it still. I just kind of hate that, like, coming in and playing kind of like to really nobody. Like, as the club's starting to fill up. Like, I like to play sort of like a little bit later in the night, like, second or third setting. And then I also like to play like sort of maybe like the second to last set. I don't mind doing last sets, but people normally going home by then. I like to play like when the most people are there, because you get the better atmosphere, whereas like some people don't. Like if an event starts at 8 o'clock, for example, basically, like, if an event starts for 8, then like basically you've got like that like sometimes like you're not guaranteed for it to really get busy until like 10 o'clock. So, you might play to like 30 or 40 people, and then the person at 10 o'clock might play to like 110 people, and then it goes on from there. So, but we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to it. It will be a shed load of fun in that kind of thing. So that'll be absolutely wicked. So yeah, so that's coming up. The following week we've got mini ravers. So I'm back in Immingham for mini ravers, and I'm hoping to have my motorbike back on the road by then. So I'll give you a little bit of a motorbike update. So before Christmas last year, I went to go out on the motorbike and it wouldn't start. And I believed the battery had gone flat. That's what it kind of sounded like. It was like it was on a fire. But then it was almost like it was just kind of dying out, like the battery was going flat. So we took the battery off. And then I was a hell of a long time before I got it up to my friend's house who had a charger for it. And basically the weather got really bad. It got like, like not cold as like it got cold, but it was more like we were having wet days where like it would just be like raining, or like it'd just be like icy in the morning, and it wasn't really weather to be dragging a bike out. So basically it got left all over Christmas, and then a couple of weeks ago I finally gave my battery to my friend, like about a week and a half ago maybe. And then literally, to cut the story short, he only just managed to put it on charge yesterday, and when he went to put it on charge, the fuse blew in the charger. So I think I'm cursed at this point. Like, because literally things just keep going wrong. So he needs to get another fuse now for it. But I'm hoping that the battery is all right. The bike was running fine, and then there was just a couple of days. I think like where there was just like over a weekend or something where I didn't ride it, and then like one Tuesday I was kind of like, do you know what, or Monday or whenever it was, I was like, I had to go through and see my nan. Like, oh, come through on your bike, and then I got the bike out, and then it wouldn't start. So then I had to go and get a train instead. But it ran before that. So I'm hoping there isn't like a major issue with it. Last week I pulled the bike out of like where I'm storing it, and it was really stiff. Like it had seized up. It was really stiff to move it, and I think it just needs. I think ideally it needs a little bit. I think it needs a service ideally, and I don't mean like the proper official service. Like I think it needs to go to a garage, and it just needs to somebody to have a little bit of just to look over it and just like give it a general kind of like tell me kind of like what's wrong with it, because like the brakes have been a little bit like stiff for a little bit of a while, and also the brakes aren't the best. Like they're good, but they're not the best. And they're a little bit like they're not as sharp as they should be. And there's just a couple of little things, like I think that just a few little minor things. That might just need a little bit of TLC to it, but I'm not certain what they are. Now I did do a level 1 in motorcycle maintenance, however, that was about 10 years ago. So I'm a little bit kind of like, do you know what? Like I'm a little bit like I'm just not certain, unfortunately, that I would fully know what I'm doing. Like I know little bits to the extent, like I can take a battery on and off. I can top it with oil. I can do basic things. Anything a little bit more where I've got to kind of take the bike to pieces, like that is just something I'm not ideally that sure about. So personally, like I'd rather somebody who kind of knows what they're doing would kind of like just have a little bit of a look over, and just give me a little bit of a, do you know what, like this is what we need, kind of thing. But I'm not certain. So hopefully once we get the battery to charge, we can put it back in the bike, and everything will run nice and smoothly as far as that goes, and we should be all good. So that's the score with that. And then I want to do I want to do some good bike rides this year. I want to do a lot of like, you know, when the weather gets a bit better, I want to do a lot of like going into the countryside and going to some biker cafes. I want to get like a helmet camera, and I want to film some like helmet, you know, footage of me like going on some rides, you know, out, and I want to do some really cool things. One place I want to go to is a place called Sherburn in Helmet. They have a really, really big bike cafe there, and it's like a massive place. It's like almost like a big restaurant. You can go there and you can eat, and also they've got like a big like motorbike shop there where they sell like helmets and jackets, and really, really massive place. It's a really, really big place to do a lot of bike things there, and they have like modified car shows there, and it's sort of like in between York and Leeds, which I can get to. You know, I can go to York on the A roads, and then go across from York to Sherburn in Helmet. I can't fully remember the way there because it's been a while since I've been. I used to go with my dad sort of around 10 years ago, sort of like, you know, sort of around then. However, it will be really good to go back there again. It's a really nice place. It's a good place to get a cup of tea as well, and it would be a really, really cool thing to do. So I most definitely want to go to York, go sort of that way and go to York. That is one place I want to do. I also want to have a ride to Scarborough as well. Scarborough again is a really, really nice place to ride. And it'll be really nice to go sort of from Hull and then come all the way to Brid, and then go from Brid to Scarborough and sort of follow the coast road, as opposed to going like I could go by Driffield, but it's not as good, and it's a lot more hilly, and I just think personally, if I went via sort of like the Bridway, so like went from Hull, sort of Bransburton, Beeford, and then sort of headed to Brid that way, and then went from Brid on to Scarborough, and that would make a really, really nice, you know, make a really, really nice journey, and then head over into the Scarborough seafront, and that would be a really, really cool thing. So that is definitely something I'm going to do. There's also some other places in Lincolnshire as well, over the Humber Bridge. There's Guy Martin's Cafe that I went to once. I can't remember when it was, but I went about 6-7 years ago. Really good cafe. There we went there once, and I had something to eat, and had a little ride out there, and then went with somebody who's no longer alive now, sadly. Well, kind of sadly, but I'm not going to go into it. And yeah, just basically had this really cool little journey out, and then rode back, and it was quite a cool thing to do. I can't fully remember the way. I do sort of know like the majority of the way there, but I just can't fully remember fully the way. But I would soon be able to work it out. So that'll be another good place to go as well, and just really see, in all fairness. But there we go. So I'm going to cut here. Make sure to like, comment, share. See you soon. Okay.